So it's been forever since I've done a tier list on the channel. I really do like making them. So I wanted to pick a tier list that I knew a lot of the bands, more than just a few songs, ideally maybe a good swath of any artist's discography, and that best suits me with 90s rock. So that's what we're going to do today. We are going to rank 90s rock bands from S tier, oh my god, you're amazing, like Bill Clinton saxophone energy, to F tier, which like Timothy McVeigh, right? As far as like what was good and what was bad in the 90s. You know, Bill Clinton on our City Hall, that was fun. That was cool even. Timothy McVeigh, not so much. It's like, time out, buddy. No, thank you. So while looking through tiermaker.com or whatever the hell this place is called, you see a lot of just terrible tier lists, but this one isn't too bad. I think they said like they had like 70 here. One of the issues with doing this though that I realized is I like a lot of these bands. Some of these bands I don't like at all, but I do like a lot of them. So I'm really gonna try and observe some real criticism on these bands and judge them way harsher than I would have otherwise. But I haven't heard all of these groups, I think, to a point that I could say like a valid opinion on them. So we do have the haven't heard tier, although I'll make an exception because sometimes like some of these guys are like one hit wonders. And if that song was just really good, I might just rank you as if it was any other band. So going in alphabetical order, we have the number 3 first for 311. 311 gets shit on a lot, and maybe even like justifiably so. There's like some of their shit, it's like weird white boy rock, rap, reggae stuff. And when it hits, like, you know, like songs like Amber, right, are just nice, chill jams. Then you get other songs like All Mixed Up where they're actually talking about like how they don't give a shit that people don't like how they mix everything up so much. But I get like, you can't take it too seriously. But the musicians are fantastic in that band, and the lead singer has aged like a silver fox. I've seen 311 twice in concert. They're fantastic live. I'll try to not put too much of my own personal belief into this. I'm going to try and be like objective here, right? And try to curve the scale. This is, we are grading these on a curve. So I think 311 is going to go in B tier. High B tier will wait to be seen. And you know what? Controversially, I'm going to put Alice in Chains. I think they're equal. I know so many people love Alice in Chains, and I really like Alice in Chains, although I can't do it all. Dirt was great. Lane Staley's voice is amazing. I think Jerry Cantrell's a very, very influential guitarist, but some of it just doesn't jive with me. Like, there's only so many times I can hear them bones without, like, rolling my eyes. But then you do like, you know, like Jar of Flies and the self-titled are also both really high B, low A. High B, low A. Barenaked Ladies. Yeah, it's bad. Blind Melon is one of those bands where if the lead singer wouldn't have died, they would have been so much better. But for what's there, it's real good. He's just got Darcy just has one of the best voices of the decade, and I think of like the genre. I mean, you can't listen to No Rain without crying your stupid bloody eyes out. Their cover of The Pusher's fantastic. The name of that album escapes me, but it's the Pusher and Toes Across the Floor. Toes Across the Floor is my favorite Blind Melon song. That song is so goddamn good. Really, really unfortunate. I went to a festival that they were supposed to be at, and I just didn't see him because I was like, what's the fucking point? The dude's dead. Blink-182 sucks. When I was growing up and really getting into punk rock, Blink was one of the, you know, I grew up in the early 2000s, so Blink was like everywhere, and I just couldn't do the Where Are You? You know, all that crap. I know it's stereotypical, like whatever it is. And like Travis Barker's a good drummer, but I don't really get his good drumming from, I mean, I guess I do. I like Travis Barker's other projects, Transplants, Aquabats, all that other crap that he did. I think he's a great collaborator, but look, Tom DeLonge can still be looking for aliens for all I care. He like pieced out from Blink-182 to go look for aliens. Then you had Matt Skiba from Alkaline Trio come in. And actually that era of the band wasn't that bad. That era of the band wasn't that bad. Actually, for Matt Skiba and Matt Skiba alone, I will be moving up Blink-182 to D tier. Because I like Matt Skiba. And then Tom DeLonge came back because I guess he was tired of looking for aliens. Blues Traveler's going to be another B tier band. I just saw them live. They're pretty good. And when you go to a festival and you see bands play, they have a much shorter set than they do like if they're playing their own one-off show. And Blues Traveler just leaned into the we don't give a fuck. They played like their 3 hits. So they played Carolina Dreamin', Run Around, But Anyway, and then played a harmonica rendition of War Pigs and a bunch of other covers. And then they brought the dudes from fucking the Spin Doctors on, and they just didn't care. And it was great. It was the best crowd of that whole 4-day festival weekend. It was terrific. 4 by Blues Traveler is one of the best records of the 90s. You really kind of got to be into like smoking weed, I think, to really get it. But the cat logo is really good. We got Blur here. Blur, song 2 is what it is. It's good. To speak of the 90s, recently I digitized all of my CDs, right? So I got this huge CD collection and I had quite a few Blur CDs that I just hadn't really peeled into. The Magic Whip came out when I was in high school, but I didn't go to high school in the 90s. So there was their album 13 that I listened to while I was digitizing everything. I'm like, oh, let me peel into this. This got like a weird album cover for them. It looked like real indie and folky, and I wouldn't suspect it coming out of Blur. And it was great. It was such a good album. I think a lot of me placing Blur in A is just going to be me having a hard-on for Damon Albarn more than anything else. But also, like, you find an album at a certain, like, point, and you may have had, like, barely any expectations for it. But I really liked that album, and I wasn't expecting... It was like a breakup album. And I hadn't really heard that side of Damon Albarn before, and I liked it. Bush is one of those bands that people really like, and I don't. It is the precursor to butt rock. This like post-grunge pop rock kind of thing, but still had like a little bit of a hard edge to it. Gavin Rossdale is a good enough frontman. I had heard a little bit of some of their new releases, and it's actually not too bad. But that's just kind of my opinion on Bush. It's all just not too bad. Got a machine head. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. And also, like, Bush is just a bad name for a band. Butthole Surfers is a great name for a band, and they're going into A. Oh, Electric Larryland, whatever the fuck that album was called with Dracula from Houston on it. Who Was in My Room Last Night? Just all these like killer one-off tracks. The 90s were a time for the underground to rise up. And I think in any other decade, I don't know if a band called the Butthole Surfers would have gained any type of serious recognition. And especially if you listen to Pepper, like knowing that the people who made that song were called the Butthole Surfers, I still can't get over it. To this day, I can't get over it. I know I'm not going to put too much of my personal bias here. I know I said that already, but god damn it, do I want to put Cake in S tier. They have 2 bad songs. The only bad songs Cake ever made were The Distance and their cover of I Will Survive. Because I think I Will Survive just been beat to death, and I didn't really think that they did a great version of that. Cake has other phenomenal covers. I also can't stand The Distance. It's a bad song, and I don't care about racing. However, Short Skirt, Long Jacket is one of the greatest songs ever written. Comfort Eagle, Fashion Nugget, bangers upon bangers on those records outside of the aforementioned tracks. I don't know. Cake's one of my all-time favorite bands, but I'll put them above Butthole Surfers, even above Blind Melon, even above Cake. I'll put Cake above Cake too. Counting Crows is going to get high B. I like Counting Crows. They are kind of just very accessible. I don't know if bland's the right word, but I never found anything terribly exciting about Counting Crows outside of the Shrek 2 soundtrack. The dude's got a great voice. I don't know what his name is. Mr. Jones and me. It's good. I really fear that this video is just going to be me saying band name and then singing their biggest song. No, Counting Crows had a few good songs, but as far as anything that puts them above B. I don't know if I'm comfortable with that. We may have our first S tier legitimately. I'll put them in high A for now, but we have the cranberries. If you're new to the channel, or if you've never watched me live stream before, you've probably heard me wax poetic on Dolores O'Riordan, the late great Dolores O'Riordan. The Cranberries are just one of those bands that just they make me cry. Okay, I'll be honest with you. If I want to cry, I listen to the fucking Cranberries. You know I'm such a fool. Yeah, no, I was quite upset when Dolores O'Riordan died. I just get so much out of those records. They might go into low S. We'll see. I got a feeling that I'm going to bump up to low S. Crash Test Dummies. Don't know if I've actually ever listened to Crash Test Dummies. Creed's going to go in C tier below Bush. Wouldn't I like to be under some Bush? Hey now. Come on. Creed had this resurgence. It's this whole post-irony, shit that Gen Z's really into, and I fuck with it, right? I think it's fun. I know like bands like Creed or like Limp Bizskit or even like Nickelback, they're always like, oh, they're so bad. All this shit sucks. It's butt rock. Yada, 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 yada. But can't we just have some fun with music? And I think back in the day, people were like, oh God, Creed just sucks. And this was like the pinnacle of coworker music in the 90s like that. And like, you were lucky if, your coworker listened to Alanis Morissette. But here we have Creed in C tier. And I think that's about where they should be. I think it's cool to have fun with it now. But when you're really looking at it, Dave Matthews Band, they put out the best albums that Dave Matthews ever put out was in the 90s. Do we actually have, do we have Fish on this? We don't have Fish. So I think Dave Matthews is really going to be our closest to a jam band, even though like they kind of operate in this quasi jam band location. Under the Table and Dreaming and Crash are just so good. Those two albums are so good. I'm going to put them in A. I have to. Probably somewhere around there. Better than Butthole Surfers, I don't know. Dave Matthews Band equals Butthole Surfers, I think. Eve 6 is another one of those post-grunge rock bands that, probably did numbers on college radio. But outside of a couple songs, have I swallowed my pride if I started a bird, whatever it was, whatever the fuck it was. What about Dave Matthews Band's Waste Management? Hey now, that was the bus driver, okay? If anybody got a feeling we all know about the Dave Matthews Band Waste Management System. Now, Everclear, I like a whole lot, and that's not exclusive to me maybe or maybe not having daddy issues. Yeah, Father of Mine, yeah. I think it's just like a killer track, but like beyond that, they brought like this sense of humor and just really simple songwriting that was just, I don't know, just very sharp. Santa Monica, all that shit. Yeah, Everclear, not as good. Okay, so hold on. Counting Crows isn't even as good as 311. Filter, we love Rejects from Nine Inch Nails. Moving on, we have Foo Fighters. I've mentioned this in the past, how I've never flip-flopped on a band more than I have the Foo Fighters. I used to love them, then I used to fucking hate them, then I used to like them again, and then I was just like, okay, I guess I just don't care about the Foo Fighters at all. Then I saw them live. They were at a festival, they were headlining, so they played a full set, and I was transported to another dimension. I don't know if I've been to even more than like 3 or 4 shows where I went like, oh my God, at the end of it. And I was truly at a loss for words when I saw the Foo Fighters. The Shape and the Color is just a terrific record. Considering that, Dave Grohl had a lot of the shit on that first Foo Fighters album, like written before it even left Nirvana. The Shape of like that was the best Nirvana album ever made. At least it was like better than anything Nirvana made outside of like In Utero. But we'll get to that, I guess. Foo Fighters going up to S tier. I think that they've evolved into being like one of the last true arbiters of rock and roll, at least in popular culture. I don't know, Dave, just like don't leave it in if it's not your wife, okay? So next we got Garbage. A lot of people really like Garbage, And I'll put them low B just because of that. You know, I like a good rock band. I like a good rock band with a female vocalist as much as the next guy. I just never really, they never really scratched me where I itched. So I want to put them high C, but I know that might actually get me crucified. So we'll put them high B. We'll put them high B. Now, I am perfectly fine with getting shit on for this because I think the Gin Blossoms suck. Oh my God. Hey, jealousy. Hey, shut up. I don't care. Goo Goo Dolls, low C. That's like, talk about 90s coworker music. Green Day, in my opinion, literally saved punk rock. Now, it's kind of insane that the maker of this tier list used the American Idiot imagery for the logo for Green Day here. That's fine. We appreciate them for putting this together for us. When you look at it, it's like Dookie and hardly anything else as far as like true masterpieces of the punk genre that came out of Green Day. But I mean, Nimrod, Insomniac, Warning, just all incredibly, incredibly good to me. But I'm a punk rocker, so I get it. But I'll put them there. So we got Hole. Honestly, I'll put them above Garbage just because I've never been a terribly big fan of Hole. So that's Courtney Love, right? That's Kurt Cobain's. Were they married? Was it his wife? Baby mama for sure. I was never a huge fan of them, but at least a little bit more interesting than Garbage as far as 90s rock bands with girly leads. I think that's going to be fair. Hootie and the Blowfish, C tier. Incubus is another band I don't like a ton. I've kind of come around on them in a sense to where they do have a very distinct sound. And I had also heard that they had opened up for Korn on their first tour, and they were just so terrified that they were going to get like beat out of the building because they're opening up for Korn, and they're very different from Korn. But I guess I kind of appreciate how much work they put into a lot of what they did, because, you know, like they have a DJ as part of the band, right? So that's their Mr. Han. They're different from Korn. Oh, they're so good. Moving on, Jane's Addiction, high A. It's weird to me that Jane's Addiction gets called the grandfather. Perry Farrell, right? Perry Farrell, the lead singer-songwriter of Jane's Addiction, whose other group, Porno for Pyros, I absolutely adore. And I adore Jane's Addiction as well. But their influence on the alternative scene cannot be understated. But I will understate it because they say Perry Farrell is like the godfather of alternative music. Like, he's the alt granddaddy. And I just don't know how true that is. So I was talking to another one of my like music nerd friends, telling him about that. And I was like, it should be REM. Because REM predated Jane's Addiction. And they're very different sounds, but I think REM fit into that proto-alt space way earlier than Jane's Addiction did. He had to let me know that REM was technically considered college rock, college radio rock. And I'm like, come on. He goes, that's just what people say. That's just what people say. But I can comment on what Korn did in the 90s. It's not going to be B. So we only listen to Follow the Leader. People are telling me that I should react to Korn's self-titled debut. Let me know if you want that to happen. But everything from Follow the Leader, there was a lot that I liked, but worse than Creed. Worse than Creed, I think, because at least Creed's like accessible and kind of fun. Lemonheads has a really good cover of Mrs. Robinson and a really good cover of Skulls by the Misfits. So based on those covers, I'll put better than Korn. How about it? Limp Bizskit. I'll put them high B. See, I feel like Limp Bizkit and 311 are both like the same kind of annoying white boy music. 311's better though. 311's much better than Limp Bizkit. I'm not gonna talk to you about Limp Bizkit. You already know about Limp Bizkit. Limp Bizkit is one of the most annoying bands ever, and that's why I love them. By all accounts, Fred Durst is genuinely a nice dude, a loser in a lot of spaces, but a generally great dude. My issue with a lot of his stuff gets bigger down into his insecurities and the fact that Wes carried the band musically. When he left, the band was without focus. That said, they had actual personalities, which I wish most bands had these days. Yeah, I mean, Wes Borland is one of my favorite guitarists. He's even said it himself that like Limp Bizkit chords and like songs are just really simple, and like, you know, he can like shit out those riffs. but how, the band kind of allowed him to explore his own creativity with all of the makeup and costumes that he does. And he's like a wizard of guitar technology too. And so that's why I've kind of always liked to apologize for Limp Bizkit a little bit, because surface level, it's all really ridiculous and stupid. But when it just comes to like a just deliciously sounding hook, John Otto, right? Lit's gonna go into B tier, just somewhere, anywhere works, because they made one of the greatest songs ever made. Unapologetically love it. It's so good. Live isn't. Low C. Marcy Playground. Now, I mentioned going to music festivals, and I think another band... Yes, so I saw another band that we'll get to at this music festival that completely fucking sucked. Because there was a lot of older, 90s bands that were there. A lot of the bands... Some of those bands are on this list. Marcy Playground... That album, like the one, right? Sex and Candy, Cloak of Elvenkind, Saint Joe is a terrific 90s rock album, but they sounded so good live. I don't know what it was. B tier. A lot of these are going to be B tier. Like, I like a lot of these bands, okay? We'll put Marcy Playground. I feel like the Blues Traveler, Marcy Playground, Everclear era is going to be a tightly contested contest. Matchbox 20. Speak about 90s coworker music. Holy fuck. Just because B tier's getting crowded, I'll put him high C. Rob Thomas is a pretty decent vocalist, even though it's all kind of stupid. Matchbox 20 is at least C. Yeah, I think so. So we have Modest Mouse, and I don't like most of Modest Mouse's music, but I realize that a lot of that is just anything that they've done, from Good News for People Who Like Bad News. I just heard all that crap so much growing up, and I never liked it. But their 90s stuff, King Rat, come on now. Their 90s stuff is actually quite good. I will be putting them around. They're better than Blues Traveler, not as good as Filter. They're probably better than Filter, like, honestly, like the shit that they were doing in the 90s. But I'll put them there. This one's weird. So all of these bands that we've already talked about already had, like, I could see like Lemonheads being a little lesser known, Jimmy Eat World being a little lesser known. But we got one that it's really a cult band more than anything else. We have Neutral Milk Hotel, and if Neutral Milk Hotel's on this list, they're at the very fucking top. Aeroplane Over the Sea, On Avery Island, some of the best music that has come out of the rock genre despite era. Jeff Mangum is a genius to the nth degree. If I could listen to In the Aeroplane Over the Sea for the first time again, I would. I even like a lot of his solo stuff, but New Radicals has the single best one and done album in history. It deserved that at the very least. You get what you get. You get what you give is pop music royalty. Yeah, so New Radicals is pretty good. I was going to put them low A. I have not heard any other song off that album other than You Get What You Give. But I got a feeling that I'd eat that album for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now, how erroneous of an opinion is that? You tell me. Nine Inch Nails, on my blog that I have since all but forgotten, but it is linked in the description, I wrote the 7 covers that are better than Hurt by Johnny Cash. So obviously Johnny Cash covered Hurt by Nine Inch Nails. It sounds like the same fucking song, but in that blog I joked that Nine Inch Nails were the only band to make industrial tolerable for more than just a couple minutes. Now, they're an electronic rock band that incorporates a lot of industrial kind of shit in their music, and it's all genius. It just is. Trent Reznor's great. I forget the guy's name who was in Filter. So Richard Patrick from Filter met Trent Reznor when Trent Reznor was living in Cleveland, and that's how they kind of started the Nine Inch Nails thing, and then Richard Patrick kind of tailed off and started Filter. What you might not know is that Richard Patrick's older brother is the guy from Terminator 2. He's the T-9000 or whatever the fuck it's called. Robert Patrick. Yes, Robert Patrick. All right, so this is my real, honest, brutal opinion here. Nirvana's gonna go right under Cake. I know objectively they should be right here, right? Every John, Dick, and Harry loves Nirvana and praises Nirvana for the right reason, right? They were the right band at the right time, changed the music industry, yada, 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 yada. I'm telling you, folks, it's not that great. It's good. A lot of it's real good. But I don't know. Bleach wasn't that fantastic. You know, Nevermind is a really, really good record, but it's not In Utero. I've always liked In Utero more. Now, after the 2022 Batman movie, maybe I see that a little bit differently. But if you're asking me would I'd rather listen to Cake or Nirvana, I'm going to listen to Cake. But because I know that people really like Nirvana and love Nirvana, I'll put them above Cake. But you can't ask me to put them above Dolores. You just can't do it. I'm just being me. No doubt A tier. It was only ska if you squinted your eyes, but for those of us who know ska, we don't have to squint them that much. We know what you were doing, Gwen. We know who you were hanging out with. Okay? It's okay to like ska. No Doubt was one of those bands where it's like, guys, like, we listen to ska, but like we don't want people to know that. So let's just kind of like, throw in some two-tone beat here, throw in some trumpet there maybe. And then, once you get to Getaway, it's or Sweet Escape, all is lost. Oasis, I've never listened to What's the Story, Morning Glory in its entirety, so that could be an album reaction here on the channel soon. But I've loved everything I've heard. You know what? No, go next to your British brother. Yeah. Blur and Oasis together. Pick and choose. Probably Oasis more than Blur. Far better than Blur. They're better than Blur. I wouldn't say they're far better. So as big as Green Day is, it's kind of like, because like when you say popular punk bands, it's Green Day. Maybe not so much anymore, but for the longest time it was fucking Green Day. You look at those Spotify plays. I mean, they put some pop acts to shame. But here we have the Offspring, and they have very comparable numbers to Green Day, even though I don't think that they get as much critical recognition as Green Day. It operates on this line of punk rock that I enjoy quite a bit, which is why I like bands like NoFX, which is just being like really obnoxious. But they do it just, I don't know. They don't overdo it. They don't overdo the obnoxious. And my least favorite Offspring song is that stupid, really bad Gonna Go Far Kid song, which is just terrible. And that came out not in the 90s, so they saved themselves with that. High B. I'd say that them and Alice in Chains are kind of neck and neck for me. Papa Roach. You just sit there real quick, okay? All right, we got I'm still alive. There. Gonna make a tier list video and put it on YouTube. Yeah. S tier. So are the Pixies. Doolittle, Surfer Rosa. Pick your poison. It's all really good. See, this is another band that I thought of would have probably added to the whole alt credo thing, but no, it's all Jane's Addiction. Pot USA. So Presidents of the United States of America. Love this band so much. They take rock and roll down to its most simple elements and then just expand on it from there with, albeit some very goofy senses of humor, writing songs like Dune Buggy about a bug, or songs about salamanders or cats at their back door. I adore this band, but I'll save myself some ridicule and put them above Limp Bizskit. I think that's fair right there. For the longest time, Pot USA's debut album didn't have a vinyl release, and then it came out a couple years ago. It was like over $100. I'm like, I'm good. I don't know if I like them that much. I'll put Radiohead in S tier because it's fucking Radiohead, and they made some of the best albums of all time. that fucking decade. I mean, really the one, right? It's some of the best ways to rock and or roll to me, but I really cannot stand this like Deadmau 5 EDM Radiohead logo. I don't like this. This is bad. All right. Rajay against the Mashana. I like them a whole lot. I think they stack up pretty well. Better than Nirvana. Tom Morello needs to calm his goofy ass down, but other than that, I really like them. Red Hot Chili Peppers. This band's at the top of my shit list, but God, I will try to be amenable to other voices, and I do think, all else being equal, they are one of the better bands of the decade, even though I don't necessarily agree. Better than The Offspring. Just because the musicians in the Red Hot Chili Peppers are fantastic. I will say that. There is no getting over the fact. Like, Chad Smith, Flea, whoever the fuck plays guitar in that fucking band, they're all pretty good at what they do. I really like the song Snow. That's a good one. REM, S tier. Better than Green Day. Better than the Pixies. Better than Foo Fighters. Not better than Radiohead. I'm sorry. Semisonic. I don't know any other song, I think, beside Closing Time. But, like, isn't it true that, like, the same guy who led Semisonic wrote all of, like, Adele's songs? I'll put him in Haven't Heard. Now, Silverchair. I didn't know about this band until I was well through college. And they are very, very good. Post-grunge rock, but kind of like... I put them and Our Lady Peace kind of in the same pie. Like really heavy down-tuned guitars with like very melodic choruses, great breakdowns. I'm actually kind of surprised more people don't know about Silverchair. I think over the last couple years, I've seen way more online discourse about Silverchair, which makes me really happy. Yeah, hi B. I feel like those guys who like inspect jewels on YouTube shorts, like yeah, good clarity, yeah. Excellent cut. Good clarity. Yeah. Okay, so we got Smash Mouth up next. Smash Mouth is just one of those bands, man. I don't have to remind you of that live set they did that went viral, and, you know, Steve from Smash Mouth is throwing up the salute. But I think that their 90s offerings were really quite good. Very fun, kind of take it as it comes, rock and roll. Love Shrek. Better than Filter. Worse than Marcy's Playground, worse than Everclear, worse than Counting Crows, worse than Hole, they'll go around here for me. I think I should move Incubus up a little bit. Damn, I can't believe I just said that about Incubus. Smashing Pumpkins. I want to say, okay, if I got Green Day in S tier, where do I put Billy Corgan and company? God damn. I have to put him in S tier. I have to. You can't not. They were like the biggest band on the planet at one point. Fuck Billy Corgan? No, I don't give a shit. You can be a piece of shit, but if you make a good record, you make a good record. I gotta call it like it is. Yeah. This is all kind of equal. Right here, I think. Soundgarden is gonna go to the tippy top of the A tier. There's aspects to Bad Motofinger that I like. And Chris Cornell is just like an incredible vocalist. But I don't really dig a lot of that first album. Not like the other first album or like EP or whatever they did, but I'm talking like Bad Motofinger, right? Now, Super Unknown. Super Unknown is a phenomenal rock and roll record. I think it's one of the best rock records that's ever been made. Yeah, Soundgarden above Jane's Addiction. Yeah, just for Super Unknown alone. Because as much as I love Ritual Day Habitual, Super Unknown's better. Spin Doctors. So I mentioned them a little bit earlier. Spin Doctors were just one of those bands where if you liked weed in the 90s, you listen to the Spin Doctors. It's fun. I know a lot of people really talk shit on their song Little Miss, but I think it's a fun song. It's got some bad songwriting in it, but whatever. I think it's fun. That first Spin Doctors album was not too bad. Don't know a ton about Stained, and I think I'm glad. So we're starting to finish this up here a little bit. Now, a lot of people complain about STP for not only being bad, but also just being an industry plant. I mean, at this point, who the fuck isn't? I get it. Like, this was like STP from everything I've gathered, was like a real concerted effort among record labels to produce a band to kind of capitalize on the whole grunge thing. And what came out was like STP, which was just accessible kind of sound, and yeah, I am the man, I heard a birdie dirt birdie, right? Just like sing like that and you're in. I like them quite a bit. You know, some of it like Bad Motorfinger and Soundgarden. There's some of it that I don't really like, and I can see why people shit on it. But you get songs like Plush, especially Scott Weiland's rendition of Plush acoustic. The acoustic version of Plush is a terrific track, and it's just Scott and his voice. I think he fucking nails the performance. Yeah, I really like STP. It's really fun. It's not as maybe cerebral as Pearl Jam or Nirvana or Soundgarden on their best days, but I really don't think that they deserve the hate that they get. I don't give a shit. Sublime's one of the greatest bands of all time. If Bradley Nowell wouldn't have fucking died, he would have gone. He would have officially gone down as one of the greatest American songwriters ever. Okay, Sublime is a folk band, and I will elaborate no further, only because I might want to make a video explaining why I think Sublime is actually a folk band. But if you want me to make that video and explain my case, let me know. Sugar Ray. Sugar Ray's really fun. I like Sugar Ray a lot. Can't put him in the... I'll put Sugar Ray above Alice in Chains. No. Better. Yeah. Right below Counting Crows seems fine. They Might Be Giants. They did make music in the 90s. They were making music in the 80s too. I love They Might Be Giants. It's art rock. It's weird. It's super fucking nerdy. But as somebody who, you know, kind of identified as a nerd for a lot of my adolescence, and that's when I found They Might Be Giants, they couldn't have found me, and I couldn't have found them at a better time in my life. They're geniuses, and who doesn't love Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, right? They do hot dog, hot diggity dog. They Might Be Giants is just bubblegum ween. I wouldn't go that far, but I see what you're trying to say. It is avant-garde. It is maybe a little under pace from, you know, some of these other acts, just because like I feel like a lot of the sound and the scene blurred into each other. Weens, especially earlier Weens, like way more like vulgar, and even later Weens pretty vulgar too. But I see where you're coming from with that bubblegum aspect to it. Like if you like weird music, start with They Might Be Giants, work your way up to Ween a little bit. So I mentioned how great the set was for Marcy Playground at this festival I went to, but I was way more excited to see Third Eye Blind, and their set fucking sucked. They sounded like shit. They didn't even sound like they were playing in time. I don't know what it was. Maybe I was just way too hot that day, because I was hot every day of that festival. But Third Eye Blind, that first album is so good. And so I will be putting them north of STP and Blind Melon, I think. Yeah, that seems fair. Toadies, you know, I'd never listened to any other album from Toadies other than that one album, and I can't even remember the name of it. Do you wanna die? Whatever it was. Actually, I'll put Spin Doctors down to C. Tool sucks. Verve, I like the Verve. You know, during our paid reaction streams that we have here, make sure you subscribe to me to see when I'm doing those if you want to get a song in front of me. We listened to a little bit more of the Verve, and I got like this really good Britpop sound from them that I didn't necessarily catch off of Bittersweet Symphony. And I peeled into them a little bit more. And I do quite like it. I feel like if I got into the Verve a little bit more, they might go into A. But from everything I've heard, I feel they can sit next to Filter there. Wallflowers. I'll put them in C. Like, I get it. You're Bob Dylan's kid, right? Is it Bob Dylan's kid or Bob Dylan's grandson? I think it's you're not better than Smash Mouth. Quit kidding yourself. Ween, we'll put them next to They Might Be Giants, right? Whether it's chocolate and cheese, pure guava, it's all very weird and awesome. Freedom of 76 is a perfect song. And I'm trying to kind of reel it back because my favorite Ween album came out in 2003. So that was Quebec. So outside of that, the Mouse came out in the 90s, didn't it? Yeah, 97. Yeah, they might be Giants, Ween. Take your pick. Honestly. Oh, boy. All right, we got one last one here. Fucking Weezer. All right, the Blue Album's one of the greatest albums ever made in rock. You know, I won't go that far. I won't say it's one of the best albums ever made, but it kind of is. I didn't really appreciate Pinkerton, although I think I've been a little too harsh on it because it's not a Weezer album to me. It is a Rivers Cuomo album. It's pretty good, but I used to be on this bit and just say that Pinkerton's not a fucking album. It just doesn't exist. But the Blue Album is, I can't stand Buddy Holly, but outside of that, it's a really good album. And it was also like so different, and I think came out of like I think Weezer kind of capitalized on this indie alty kind of sound before it really started picking up, which is weird because like Rivers Cuomo was like a hair metal guy, and like he was like trying to be in like hair metal bands, and he started working at a record store, and that's what kind of spurred on like he started listening to, you know, like all these other bands. I couldn't tell you what it was, but I remember reading one time that, you know, it was him working at a record store and finding all this new music, which he already had the rocker aspect, you know, the rocker inclination in himself through all the hair metal stuff. He just needed like a little touch of the Pixies. And he goes, ah ha 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 ha, my name is Jonas. So there it is, guys. That is my 90s rock tier list. Let's get it a little bit bigger just so you can see it. I will be linking this tier list down in the description so you can kind of fool around with it yourself. Let me know where you have things ranked. Let me know why my rankings were either good or bad. Should I listen to any of these bands down here? You let me know. Oh, hold on, I'm getting another call. Hello? Oh. All right, yeah. I'll let them know. Slight devotion to accuracy, folks. We did make an error here. Tool is the greatest band of all time.
Diggity dog. Diggity dog. Diggity dog. Diggity dog. Breaking. Diggity dog.